Hello, it's Katie Parker. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be looking at how to create a hook and eye style clasp. So this clasp here, so how to create this, work hard knit, and how it will attach to a bracelet. So I will be making this bracelet in a further tutorial. Okay, so we're just going to be working on this little section just for now. So I'll just show you the individual components. They do look like your classic hook and eye, like so. So this one's your hook here, so if I turn this on its side you can see the hook part of it, and that will fit into our eye. So the ingredients that we're going to be needing is 1mm wire. So this is the main part, so it's all made from 1mm wire. I wouldn't make a clasp really out of anything less than a 1mm wire because you need the structure. A 1.25 is ideal as well. So we've got our 1mm, I'm using bare copper, some chain nose pliers, some six-step bead making pliers, some flush cutters, round nose pliers, and a hammer and block. Now if you're using maybe a 1.25 wire, you might be able to get away with not using the hammer and block, but it's always nice to give it a little slight work harden. And on this one it actually gives it a little bit of detail as well, because I don't know whether you can see that there. It's actually a little bit flatter on the hook, so it's a bit of a design detail as well. Okay, so let's get started. So let's just move a few things out of to one side for a second. So I've cut off some pieces of my 1mm wire. These are probably around about 3.5 inches each. I'm not going to be using that much, so what I would suggest is, as you're making jewellery, keep your scraps, and when you've got enough scraps just make yourself a lot of these, and then you've got them in a little pot ready to go. So I'm going to take one of my pieces and I'm going to make the hook side. So taking my round nose pliers, this is rather than my bell making pliers because I want this hook to be as narrow as possible. I'm just going to kind of pop those in the middle and then push each side until they become parallel, like so. And now I've got that section there, I'm just going to take those out, and this is the section I want to hammer, just the very tip. I don't want to hammer down here because I want to still be able to manipulate this wire, but I just want to hammer the tip, mainly to give that tip just a little bit of a strength, because that's the part that's going to get used the most as it gets hooked in, and also to give it that design detail a little bit like the eye parts, because it's kind of going to flatten it a little bit. So I've got a steel block. Underneath my block I've got a rubber block as well. That's kind of dulls the noise a little bit, but it will still be a little bit noisy. So we're just going to pop the very tip just on the edge of the block, so I want to be able to support that nicely. Don't hit your finger. I'm holding the hammer at the end because I'm going to let the weight of the hammer do the work. When we're hammering we don't push down with the hammer, we just let the weight of the hammer drop down. So I'm just going to tap 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 like so, and I'm just tapping, and I'm very, very slightly brushing away as a tap, and that's just going to flatten that end out, so that's going to give it extra strength. You can see kind of got that bit of an extra flash on there. It's just where the metal is that little bit flatter. So then I'm going to take my step pliers, and I'm going to use the smallest one. I'm going to come in less than 1 centimetre, kind of think about the size of the hook you're wanting to use. So you can see I've just got that little bit, so I've got that flattened bit and I'm working on the bit that haven't been flattened, and I'm just going to push this all the way around to the opposite side. So I've got that nice hook shape in there now. You can see that there. Yeah, so we've got that nice hook shape in there. So the part I'm going to be looking at next is working from here, where my fingernail is here. So looking at this, I want to look at that part that I just said here. Then I'm going to work around about 1 centimetre away from that. So I'm going to pop my pliers, my snips, flush cutters in about 1 centimetre away from that and snip both of those wires off. Now I'm going to turn these both outwards, so both towards the outside of the piece. So to do this you're probably going to have to just separate them a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, and I'm going to use the smallest part of my 6-step bell making pliers right on the very tip. So I'm going to start pushing that and push that until we come all the way back to meet the wire, and again at this side. So I'm going to turn those around and I'm going to bring it around this way. So start pushing this all the way back until we meet the wire again, and then we will have our little hook shape and our little way of connecting it to a piece of jewellery. So both of these hooks, these loops, sorry, can be opened. So just with your pliers, just make sure they're all straightened up and nice and together, like so. So that's the back of it. Yeah. So we will be able to either hook something into them, or we can open these and hook them into the actual bracelet or necklace that we've made. So that's that part made. Now we're going to look at making the eye part. So this time we're going to use I'm going to use the 6mm one for this one. So this is the third step on my pliers. It'll depend on what sort of pliers you've got as to which size you use, but I'm going up like to the third step. So for this one, what I'm going to do is pop this in the middle and bring my two pieces around, and this time I want to cross them. So I've got that full circle there. Then I can take these out, and I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and where these cross, I'm going to pop my pliers in, holding that circle. I'm going to straighten it out. So I've actually straightened it out so it's coming away from the circle. Then I'm going to turn it over and grab that wire underneath and do the exact same thing again, turn out. So now I've got my circle there and my two wires coming away from that. So just spend a few seconds just encouraging these to lay nicely next to each other, like so. And again, we're going to continue with our little bit of hammering. So we'll work hardening this to give it more strength, but we're also kind of flattening it slightly with the hammer to give it a design detail as well. And I only want that on that circle, not on the other wire that I'm going to manipulate. So again, I go in with our hammer. There we go. So that is slightly flattened, so you should be able to see that by the way the light reflects on it. And then we've got our unwork hardened wire that we're going to make that same little loop feature with. So again, as before, we come away about 1 centimetre, like so. And then I can pop my pliers in there, right at the very tip, and work these little loops away like so. So one at this side and one at this side. So reposition your pliers to whatever is comfortable for you. I would say it's about centimetre, but I'd probably go about 12mm. My centimetres might be a bit big. So yeah, just look at them, make sure they're nice and even, like so. If you know you're not going to be opening these and you're going to be adding something to them, you can also work hard on the loop. So you just do that by just slightly tapping down on those. And if you wanted to work hard on the loops of these ones, you could kind of pop them over as much as you can, just to work hard on those loops a little bit on that side. But I wouldn't work hard on the loops, to be honest, because you might need to be open and close them. But it's a nice little way of using up your scrap pieces of 1mm wire, and it's a really nice tidy fastening. It's a really nice professional looking fastening, I think. So let's just have a little closer look there. So yeah, it's a really lovely, nice fastening. Okay, and like I say, I will be making this bracelet in another video, which will probably come out tomorrow. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Pop a like below if you've enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you again very, very soon.